Hey guys, Iceman here. So there's some Diablo news and rumors and so forth being tossed about on the interwebs regarding Diablo 4 and its current iteration. You see, some guy apparently has spoken with 11 current and former Blizzard employees, all of whom spoke anonymously, and what they had to say is very telling. First off, they made mention of how Blizzard canceled a second expansion for Diablo 3. Thank goodness, right? That game fucking sucks. And that Diablo 4 was indeed in development, but was then rebooted in 2016. Also, over the past several years, Blizzard was aware of Diablo's popularity in China, which is part of the incentive as to why they made that stupid Diablo Immortal game. On top of that, Blizzard was developing a game called Titan for some time, and I remember hearing about this some years ago, but apparently that project was entirely cancelled, and the side effects of this, and how it affects Blizzard's reputation, has been looming over the company ever since. This might be part of the reason as to why they haven't yet decided to commit to the announcement of Diablo 4 just yet, unfortunately. And this is only Iceman's speculation. A lot of these 11 employees also speculated on Activision's influence on Blizzard's decisions, seemingly in agreement that this could have detrimental effects on the games Blizzard releases. And I know a lot of us in the community have been speculating on this as well, that Activision is influencing Blizzard in a negative way. Apparently there was actually some work put into Diablo's second expansion, but not too much, before Blizzard decided to cancel it. In my opinion, it doesn't matter what you do to Diablo 3. The foundational aspects of that game are absolute trash and a freaking disgrace to the Diablo franchise. Nobody gives a shit that this second expansion was cancelled, especially Iceman. And I'm pleased to hear that it was. But fortunately, I believe good news is lurking. So check this out. You see, Blizzard apparently cancelled this second expansion because they believed that the best thing for the Diablo IP is to move on to Diablo 4. And this might be shocking to some of you, but apparently major fractions of Blizzard realized in these days that Diablo 3 was a giant fuck up. And yes, I am pleased to hear this news, that Blizzard had some self-awareness going on here. Apparently, Blizzard lost faith in Diablo 3 and considered it to be a failure, almost as though they thought Diablo 3 was irredeemable. After the release of Reaper of Souls, the Diablo team was basically scattered about, some heading to different Blizzard projects, and others leaving the company entirely. Some years ago, according to these employees, Blizzard actually began working on a new Diablo project, codenamed Hades, which was very similar to Dark Souls, only with the Diablo name on it. It was an over-the-shoulder camera view, but yet with dungeon crawling experiences. In its development, it became so much different from the other Diablo games that Blizzard nearly considered calling it something else entirely. This all took place between 2014 and 2016. But then, just as Diablo 3's second expansion that nobody wanted, Hades was cancelled as well. And then, after all this went down, they released that dumb Necromancer patch. But here's the good news. After that dumb Necromancer patch was released, some of the team then started working on a new Diablo project, codenamed Fenris. And Fenris, as far as all of these 11 employees have claimed, is the current incarnation of Diablo 4. And Blizzard's team has been working on this since 2016, and many of these guys say that they're very optimistic about the direction. It seems that this new Diablo project has a lot of people at Blizzard very excited. And here's a quote from one of these NPCs who was interviewed. Check this out. They want to make Diablo 4 gross, make it dark. Get rid of anything that was considered cartoony in Diablo 3. Holy shit, man, this is great news, right? The cartoony thing with Diablo 3 was just straight up messed up. And apparently it's common for Blizzard teams to have mantras that encourage them to keep going with a certain development project. And the one for this new Diablo 4 game is this: embrace the darkness. Yes, I believe this is referring to the darkness we were all familiar with in Diablo 1, and the atmospheric horror established as well in Diablo 2. Things that Diablo 3 just threw out the damn window. So this is great news, wouldn't you agree, bruh? Let me know in the comments below. One of the other employees said this in the interview: there's a lot of people who felt like Diablo 3 got away from what made Diablo, Diablo, in terms of art style and spell effects. And another employee said this: they want to make this gross, make it dark, get rid of anything that was considered cartoony in Diablo 3, make what people were afraid of in Diablo 2, but modern. Now this new Diablo 4 game, codenamed Fenris, is still in early development, and apparently won't come out until 2020 or later, and many things about it could still change. Something that has been tossed around in the development team is whether or not the camera angle is going to be over the shoulder, or the old classic isometric camera that Diablo 1, 2, and 3 all had, and Hades as well. But apparently, the most recent builds of the game used the isometric view, like in previous Diablo games, and Iceman thinks they sure as hell better stick with this camera view, because that's partly what makes Diablo, Diablo. You know what I mean? I really wouldn't mind a spin-off of Diablo, like a side story game that has an over-the-shoulder camera view, but for the next big project, for Diablo 4, I prefer to have the standard old-school camera view that we're all used to. Apparently, this new Diablo game might have some light MMO elements, whereas there'll be a central hub or town that could be met in with other players, and you could all join up on some weird quest together, and things like that. Similar to Destiny's strikes or World of Warcraft's instances. Monetization is a thing that apparently Blizzard struggles with when it comes to the Diablo franchise. And with Diablo 3, for example, they found it very difficult to monetize later on in its current state. So that discussion, last we know, is still going on within the Blizzard teams. And here's another shocking thing that these employees had to say. Check this out. Apparently there were plans throughout 2018 to announce the game. And here's a quote from one of the guys. In January, they were still full set on, we're going to do this right. We're going to have a playable demo. By the time we'd hit May, that game wasn't far enough along. It's normal problems, things going slower than they'd like. But by the summertime, all these employees were still under the impression that a tease was happening. One of the guys says, I think it's semantics. If they change their mind at any point, they can say, oh, it wasn't scheduled. At least what we were told as a development team, it was supposed to get teased. That was always the intention. One of the guys in this interview said this: the Diablo team is very paranoid about saying something too soon and then getting stuck in a loop. And another said, they don't want to show the game until they have a trailer, a demo. Obviously, Titan looms over all of us, said another Blizzard developer. People don't look at Titan and see a success. Our preference is to have a clear announcement plan with some concrete details and hopefully a playable demo of the game when we announce. I think there is a desire to announce stuff within a reasonably close proximity to when people are going to get to play it, said one of the developers. In terms of unannounced games, so much can change over the course of development based on how we're feeling about the progress and direction of the project. So we try not to share details about unannounced projects before we're ready. Fortunately, the stupid Diablo mobile game is being made by a separate team along with NetEase. and there is another dedicated team fully working on this new Diablo project. But who's to say when we're going to hear any news regarding it? I speculate we could this coming BlizzCon, which is almost a damn year away, which kind of pisses me off. But I hope to hell and back that we'll get some news by BlizzCon 2019. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And like this damn video if you will, bruh. And become a patron. Link in the description below. Even one monies helps, so I appreciate your support. I am the Iceman. Peace be with you.